DC FanDome Cancelled this year, says Warner Bros. Discovery. The virtual fan convention DC FanDome won't be taking place this year. Originally launched in 2020, DC FanDome was a virtual convention that covered DC content consisting of comics, TV shows, and movies, with stars and creators holding virtual panels to discuss the many projects. DC FanDome has also served as the first place fans could see trailers for the Batman starring Robert Pattinson, the Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League video game, Zack Snyder's Justice League, and more. Unfortunately, Warner Bros. Discovery has cancelled this year's DC FanDome, according to Popfalls. Comicbook.com can also confirm the latest update to DC FanDome. Before we get into it any further, make sure you like and subscribe to Geeking Around, and make sure you look into the description for a lot of great stuff. Like, I have my own website where I do post a lot of articles and videos and stuff. I didn't do this article simply because it was Labor Day weekend and I wanted to have some time off, so cheating and going off of comicbook.com this time. But yeah, you should still check out Geeking Around Network. There's a link in the description. Also, there's my comic book here, a Star Wars story, link in there, so check that out. It'll be ending very soon, sometime this month. And then I'll be releasing a sequel, which will be at first just a web novel, a short story. And then we hopefully make a comic book version of it later down the road. Alright, let's get back into this article. With the return of in-person events, Warner Bros. Discovery is excited to be able to engage with our fans live at numerous Comic-Cons around the world, and will not be scheduling DC FanDome for 2022. A statement from Warner Bros. Discovery reads, Warner Bros. Discovery appear to be putting the focus back on in-person events such as San Diego Comic-Con, C2E2, and Imperial City Comic-Con, bringing in talents and attendees for the first time since the COVID pandemic canceled shows across the globe. DC did not have a booth at San Diego Comic-Con, and comicbook.com had inquired if the company will have a presence at New York Comic-Con in October, with the company confirming it will be at NYCC, though it didn't specify if it meant with a booth or not. There had been a lot of curiosity surrounding DC FanDome with the recent slashing of projects from Warner Bros. Discovery. The Batgirl film slated for HBO Max was shelved in order to receive a tax write-off, and the screen will also either cancel or remove several movies and TV shows such as the animated Aquaman King of Atlantis and the not Stranger Things, but the Strange Adventures show. However, there has been some positive announcements when it comes to DC content from Warner Bros. Discovery. Harley Quinn was renewed for a 4th season at HBO Max, and Ezra Miller has taken the necessary steps to apologize for the recent actions that has brought bad press to The Flash, which has been included several arrests. Yeah, the false DC FanDome took place 2 years ago on August 2020 to 2000. I think that supposed to be 2020, with an 8-hour live event that on a combined 150 million views. Warner Bros. Chief David Zaslav has indicated that the studio sees DC projects as priority and is working on a 10-year plan for what the future holds. So yeah, like at first when I read this, when it was first broke by Pop Falses, I thought that was kind of very strange, because a lot of the other ones are still having. Actually, before the pandemic, Disney always had their own like little Comic Con for Disney projects. You know, not just Disney, but you know, Pixar's and Star Wars and Marvel, and then they had their own Star Wars, the Star Wars Celebration. So I thought that was kind of odd, and I kind of felt like they should have kept it. But then again, this was simply a response to the pandemic. Like there was no other way to, you know, to go to these Comic Cons and to promote any new, you know, projects that they was doing. But then also with, you know, as you know, canceling everything and removing everything, there's probably nothing for them to announce at DC FanDome. So, but I think, yeah, I do kind of agree. I can't remember where it said that they want to go back and return to in-person events. I think those are more exciting. And I think, you know, going to an actual Comic-Con and being there and being in the presence of these creators and stuff and seeing, you know, and also with the other fans, it's just so much more exciting, you know. And just like, you know, why I think watching movies at the movie theaters will always be so much better, because you're there experiencing it at the best possible way. Where watching it on your TV with your, I don't care if you got a 4K or 8K, you know, surround sound system and all that crap bullshit, it's just not the same. You can't not tell me it's the same. It's not. It never is the same. Unless you go to a very crappy movie theater. That's your own fault for paying so much money to go to a crappy movie theater. I live in a small town. We don't have any movie theaters, and I have to actually drive at least an hour away to get to a movie theater. Not necessarily a good movie theater, to get to a good, and like it's about an hour and a half to get to a great movie theater, and it's thousands times better experience in person instead of watching it on a little TV. So I think that's what the thinking is. Of course, David Asla is all thinking about money. It probably costs them way much more money to create DC FanDome than to, you know, rent a booth, you know, a couple of booths at Comic-Con. Like, I think those things can go anywhere from like 500 to 1,000, where DC FanDome probably costs millions of dollars to create. So I mean, it said it was an 8-hour thing. Probably didn't really need to be 8 hours, but Walking Dead there. But yeah, what do you guys think? Do you think this is a good move? Do you think it's a bad move? What are you thinking about all the things that David Zaslav is doing? I kind of agree with like him canceling some stuff, like they removing Aquaman, King of Atlantis. I thought that was dumb. I hated that art style. It looked stupid. I mean, it probably made people hate Aquaman even more than they did. It made me hate it, Aquaman, more than what I already did, and a bunch of other stuff that now outside of DC that Warner Bros. Had that think that was not good. But then again, I do feel those, like, especially when it comes to a lot of the animation stuff, like he cutting too many things down. Like the Batman animated series, Batman the Caped Crusader, I think it was called. Bruce Timm, Matt Reeves, and J.J. Abrams creating it. I don't understand why they would cancel that. Now, I guess they are trying to get like Netflix to buy it and put it on Netflix, but I just don't see how that is going to make it any better, because then people will move away from HBO Max and go back to Netflix, you know. So I mean, I just don't, you know. And there was supposed to be a new Scooby-Doo and Looney Tunes show coming out that they canceled. All these are big big franchises that makes money. So it's weird that once things that would guarantee you make money are getting canceled, along with stuff that I kind of agree that they should be canceling and stuff. So I mean, it's kind of weird, the thinking of a lot of this. So yeah, it's just kind of weird, and hopefully the Snyderverse does get restored. There's a lot of rumors about that by multiple sources, and that has been correct in the past. And so make sure you subscribe to Geeking Around. I'll be covering a lot of that stuff and trying to do a little bit more with focusing on like the Snyderverse and DCEU and DC Comics and stuff, and start doing reviews here pretty soon. Stuff. I've been enjoying House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones, and the Lord of the Rings. It's kind of I'm iffy right now. I watched it and it's like, well, it might be good. It might be. You gotta go into thinking that this is not Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings. This is a completely different adaptation of it. There was the animated movies back in the 70s. I can't remember who did that. They did like The Hobbit, and I think they did Return of the King. So those were different things. Of course, there's similarities because it's based off the exact same book and stuff, but it completely different. All different adaptations are different. Tim Burton's Batman is different from the Joe Schumacher's Batman. Joe Schumacher's Batman is different from the Christopher Nolan's Batman. Christopher Nolan's different from Zack Snyder's Batman. And Zack Snyder's Batman is different from Matt Reeves' Batman. They're all different adaptations, and but I remember the kind of marketing it as Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings, and I think that would be the downfall, and like it has potential of being good, so far. Yeah, anyways, make sure you like and subscribe. Check out the description for a lot of cool links, like the Geeking Around Network website, my comic books, also the Geeking Around t-shirts and other merchandise links, and a whole bunch of other stuff down there. Make sure you check that out, and I see you next time. Bye.